running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry. It's time to break up so I can make a better me.
Hello, Miami. Thank you so much for watching 305 Sports Now. I am your host, Will, and welcome to another segment of 305 Live. And you know what we're doing, everybody? We're talking Canes versus Indiana Monday night, 7:30 at The Rock. Are the Hurricanes going to take it home? Well, I certainly think so. And my guest tonight also believes so as well. You may know them from their amazing Dolphins content, but they cover a little bit of everything. We have from the SoFlo podcast, Lou from Dade, and of course, the 305 Sports Babe, Ashley Dominguez. How you doing, guys?
What's going on, man? It's a great day to be a Cane. It's a great week to be a Cane, a great season to be a Cane. We are excellent.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Will. Obviously, this is doesn't get bigger than this. There's no next week. There's no what did they advance or go. This is it. This is for everything. It's incredible. This is a home game, and we are thrilled, beyond thrilled, for this opportunity that's going to take place on Monday night.
Yeah. The wonderful thing about being live is that we're also supposed to have another guest, and he's in the comment section, and he's saying, I can't get in. So, Anthony, I'm going to send it to you right now, okay, on your social media. Okay, just give me 1 second, guys. It's great being live. You got to do all these lovely situations and so on.
So if you aren't subscribed to Will's channel, be sure to like and subscribe to the 305 Sports Now show on YouTube. Also follow him on X. He's a great follow. He's the biggest Canes fan. We've had him on our show the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
I mean, anything Canes, he is our go-to guy. For sure. And just found out he's an alum, so he's a true Ibis.
Yeah, definitely, man. The Florida State fans can never tell me anymore, you didn't go there, all right, in general. So that is gone, all right? That's been gone since when did I graduate? 2020. It's been a while, but 2020, wow, right when COVID smack dab hit us, in general. So, yeah, so Ashley, we're talking before the show came on. I swear about a couple minutes late, and you work near Coral Gables. So before we start the fun X's and O's conversation, how is the vibe over there in that city?
So I work in the heart of Coral Gables. I probably work at the closest elementary and middle school to the University of Miami, the Coral Gables campus. Many of their coaching staff, their players come to our church on Sundays. So we are the epitome of a Cane school. Everybody's riding the train. I work at a Catholic school, so we're pretty much strict to uniforms. We have never had so many dress down days the last few weeks. It has been awesome. Our priest, Father Manny Alvarez, is a diehard Canes fan. So anytime the Canes do anything big, like Cotton Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, he's like, Ash, we're doing a dress down day. Ash, we're doing a dress down day. The city as a whole, everybody's riding it. Our police officers are wearing Canes hats, your local businesses. I mean, it is just so painted. Coral Gables, Canes land, it's crazy. But I do want to tell you something. We live in Miami Beach, and I drive to Coral Gables every day. Something bothered me. Okay. So driving, I take the 836 West to the airport, then I go 57th to get to Coral Gables. And right at that exit, which is one of the main exits to get to Coral Gables, the University of Indiana alumni and the Big Ten Network bought 2 billboards. So essentially, this is the big area going into Coral Gables. The one billboard that they bought says, one more game, take it to the, from the Big Ten Network. So they use the Big Ten Network to buy that billboard. And then the second billboard is a beautiful picture of Mendoza. And then it says, go Hoosiers from the fans. So they knew to really smack it to us. They could have put that billboard anywhere, but they chose right by the airport going into Coral Gables. So besides that little smack in the face, it's all Canes and Gables.
They are being brazen. You would have thought they've been a football school for like 30 years. Like, I've gotten comments, and you would think the Indiana Hoosier fans would be like, oh, hi, how are you? No, they've been brazen about their football team this year. And it's like, yo, chill out, all right? You're still a basketball school until you win a couple, okay? So just relax a little bit. Yeah, they've been they've been up there. So buying that, man, I would have been like, whoever owns those billboards, I would have done like, some old mob thing and be like, hey, we don't want your business around here, right? Take it out of here before you got to deal with us later on. We don't do that. That's what I would have loved for them to do that instead of like, oh, yeah, we'll take your money. That kind of deal.
It reminds me of back, this is going way back, but when Greg Schiano, had former ties to the Canes and was at Rutgers, he put a billboard down here, advertising Rutgers football to all the talent in South Florida. So it reminds me a little bit of that, how, you try to get a one-up on the talent down here.
Yeah. But you know what? At least Schiano has some ties. You kind of forgive him a little bit. Like I remember Lamar Thomas did the same thing with his wide receivers coach at Louisville. And he posted like, come over here, you'll get this versus this, and he posted like our stands empty. I think it was I think Facebook or Twitter at the time was on its infancy. So those are kind of things that I was like, all right, But these guys, like, who are you people, dude? Like, come on, give me a break, man. Come on. I gotta bring on our next guest, Talking Game, all right, for Talking Game Podcast. All right, and
what's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, how are you? Yeah.
Yes,
That's right. The only proper greeting right now.
Yes, absolutely. Before we bring in Tony, Ashley, I think you want to make a point before I brought him on.
Yeah, so, I'm very helpful when it comes to people traveling, whether, because we travel a lot too, and I always want to know the best things to see or do and everything. So I've had Indiana fans, either write on my post, hey, where's the best place to go before the game? What should I do this weekend? I am sending everybody to Liberty City and Allapattah and Overtown. So I say that's the best restaurants and everything. You want to get the experience, you go there. So really in South Beach, get the full 305 experience.
You're doing a classy Kane, aren't you? That's what Dr. Kane, that's what Dr. Classy did. He's like, hey, if you're so patriotic, I have a perfect patriotic spot for you. You can visit Liberty City. I was laughing hysterically. Hey, Tony, how you been, man?
I've been doing good. Excuse me. Busy, but good, and happy about the Hurricanes and this run they've been on. And I told you when you had me on earlier in the season, don't fret. It's all going to work out. It's a long season, and look where we're at.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, because I had you on right after I believe it was the SMU game. Yeah. In general, and you made the case that we're gonna be okay. They'll figure it out, and you're right. You're absolutely 100% spot on. In general, so I mean that's that was a very good call. And your side of the fence, like how was the vibe? Where you're working, your household and stuff like that. In reference to this game on Monday.
Everybody for me is excited. Optimistic. I think like after Ohio State, the optimism like rose to a whole nother level. Like I think that was like the real true test that our fandom had, was like, oh my God, are we going to get past Ohio State? After that is like, bring on the world, we're good. We're ready for anybody right now. And I feel like, and everybody I talk to, it feels like the Hurricanes are playing their best football right now, which is the perfect time to be playing their best ball. Like they're rolling, they're playing complimentary. The camaraderie of the team is something that cannot be missed, man. This is like a real deal brotherhood. I just saw a clip of Vince Wilfork on a certain podcast just talking about how that's the difference between Miami and anywhere else. Having like those guys there and people picking each other up, and it just starts from the OGs, is like he said, and it just trickles down, and like now you see it with the current players and stuff. And it's just amazing, man. It's so much fun. I haven't had this much fun since 02, 03 as a Hurricane fan. So yeah.
Yeah, it's been a rough 23 years, man. It really has. And every single time we're like, yes, we're about to do it, and you just get let down. Like I remember when Randy Shannon got hired, I was like, give him a chance, man. A couple of years, we'll be on top. He's a winner, and then that didn't work out. The team looked like they were high schoolers. Like they never developed physically, as well. Then Al Golden came in. I'm like, he's saying all the right things, man. Al Golden come in, and then like he wouldn't fire his DC. So another thing too. And then we had hope with Rick, and then no, the offense never changed. It's like, yeah. And then
I'm not gonna lie, the Mark Rick year, like I had a lot of hope in Mark Rick, and
so did I. I think we all did.
I had some family like that aren't Hurricanes fans that was like, man, don't get your hopes up too high. He's a 9-3, 10-2 guy, and that's where he topped off at, right? I think he got 10 wins one season, right? So, but we're here now. We got Super Mario, and we're balling out, baby. Let's go.
No doubt.
Lou, one thing we were talking before the show started, and I'm gonna get Anthony's take, and of course Ashley's as well. Listen, I think we can win this football game, but I'm not gonna undercut Indiana. I think Indiana is a very well coached football team. What they lack in size in the front four, I think they make it up with their back three, with their linebackers. Those linebackers are pretty freaking big. They have a pretty big running back as well, and they have a quarterback that doesn't make that many mistakes, that goes through his progressions. And if you give him too much time, he'll nickel and dime you, to death in general. What's your take on this game? Like, what are your keys to the game, and how do you see the matchups faring out between both teams?
Yeah, just like the Canes have done, not so much the Ole Miss game, but previous to that against Texas A&M and against Ohio State. I think they got to keep it a defensive, game. They got to try to, control the clock. Mendoza, is big star, obviously, big name, Heisman Trophy winner, but he's not really overwhelming with stats. I mean, he's throwing a minimal amount now. He's completing the heck out of the ball. Only 5 incompletions in the playoff run, the 2 games that he's played. But I think, again, you got to keep him off the field as much as possible. Run the ball, use Fletcher to, get extra yards, and let your defense do the rest. That's the recipe for a win and for a championship victory there.
Anthony, what do you think?
We got to play clean. Indiana beats teams mainly because they capitalize on mistakes and they don't make mistakes. That's why, like Mendoza, his stats won't be overwhelming because the defense will cause turnovers. You have short fields, so you won't have a lot of yards, but you look up and you got 5 touchdowns, right? So, like, we can't turn the ball over. We can't have the penalties. We can't be too caught up in the moment, right? Like, the game is in Miami. I know it's going to be hype. Some of the extra playing beyond the whistle, we can't have that this game. You know what I'm saying? Some of the roughing penalties, some of those things, we can't have that because the extra 15 yards will be the difference between points and not points for Indiana. Like they are that explosive because Mendoza's not going to make the mistakes, right? So we can't hurt ourselves. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. Is the home game is a good thing, but it can't be too much of a boost for us. Like, you got to be able to stay as even keel as possible. So I think that's going to be the most important part.
Yeah. Like, for me, like, I think, like, for myself, as far as it goes, like, Miami's problem under the Cristobal era has never been the big games. He's been pretty good in the big games. It's always been, like, the letdowns with the Louisvilles and the SMUs and the Georgia Tech about a year ago before with Cam Ward. So I'm not a concern about the preparation. As far as how serious is the game they're going to take, I'm just worried about the mistakes we made with Ole Miss. Like, let me tell you, Moten got away with one. Moten sent Trinidad Chambliss into the stands, basically. And for whatever reason, the referee did not call that. That would have been another score. That's another 15 yards. They would have extended the drive for Ole Miss. So those are things that you cannot do against Ole Miss. Against Indiana, because they will make you pay. Oregon spotted, let's be honest, spotted them. 28 points, okay? 3 turnovers on a short field, one of them being a pick 6, and let's not forget the miscue on special teams with the block punt that also led to a touchdown. So if you look at the stats between Oregon and Indiana, of course there was a junk touchdown at the end where Indiana kind of was like whatever with it. It could have been a much more even game than people anticipate, right? As well. How important is it going to be the play calling? I'll start with Lou, Ashley, then go to Tony. How important is Shannon Dawson's play calling going to be in this game? Like, we can't have flea flickers unless we're guaranteed they're going to work. So how important is Shannon Dawson's play calling and scheming going to be for this game, for this defense?
Well, Tony, I just want to add on Tony. So, Tony, you said the adjective clean. I like the adjective clean, but also we have to stick to playing with violence, right? So that was
gotta be violent, but we can't throw you into the stadium into the 4th row though. Like you said, we got away with the Chambliss play, Yeah.
So we have to have like the violence mentality, but we have to keep it on a leash, right? So yes, clean, but definitely with the violence mentality. So kind of piggybacking on the question you just asked, most of it's going to come down to Carson Beck. We need a 2.0, 3.0 Carson Beck. Sorry. Oh, okay. Carson needs to look excellent out there. Excellent. We know the guy can play. There can't be any mistakes, right? That's going to go from play calling, but then also goes down to execution as well. Another guy, Malachi Tony. We expected a lot from this guy, right? But he's shown he can prove himself. And sometimes I sit back and think, this kid, is he even 19 years old yet? It's so crazy to think, And it's like, but look how he's playing. So 2 big pieces of this, obviously, clean but violent, right? Let's agree with those 2 words, clean but violent. Solid Carson Beck, Malachi Tony, and just, don't play bonehead. Like, just play smart. Like you said, Ole Miss, we got away with some things. Even we could even see the same with Ohio State. Even go to Texas A&M, but this needs to be straight good football, and we can do it.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what Ashley said, with regards to Carson Beck, he didn't need to do a whole lot against Texas A&M and Ohio State. They trusted him a little more. So I think Dawson needs to do the same thing here, because you don't want to get into a shootout with Indiana and the Heisman Trophy winner in Mendoza. But, you got to let him and trust him. Look, there's no tomorrow at this point. You got to trust him to make the throws that he needs to make. He's got to get Marion involved. He's got to get Daniels involved in addition to Tony. But he's got to trust his running game, and he's got to be able to, make the passes when necessary. Going back to what Tony said about Indiana also playing, clean football, they don't make a lot of mistakes, but if they do, the Hurricanes got to capitalize on it, because, against Ole Miss at Trinidad Chambliss, they almost had 4 interceptions that they left on the field. One of them would have been a pick 6. You can't do that. If Indiana gives you a gift, you got to grab it and go for it. You can't, make those kind of indecisions and leave turnovers on the field there.
Because Oregon gave them so many gifts, and they definitely capitalized on it. I mean, the game started with a pick 6, and you're just like, oh man! And you thought, okay, maybe they'll turn around, but it was duck hunting season nonstop. So they really will capitalize on people's mistakes. We saw that with Oregon, and so we have to play really smart, good, clean football.
JB, thank you so much for joining the chat. All right, yeah, back at a Binge podcast. JB has a lot of great guests, including a lot of NFL legends. I don't know how he does it, but he has them on a show. I had AJ Dewey on recently, which is pretty neat. So go check out a show. Go subscribe as well to Back It Up Binge podcast with JB. Anthony, what's your take on how Shannon Dawson's called this game?
I'm Shannon Dawson. When we find something that works, we don't need to get away from it. Sometimes I feel like we get bored when the running game is working, right? When we're getting 5-6 yards a pop, that's when we kind of go in our bag. And to follow up on the flea flicker situation, as somebody who has watched NFL football the last week or so and see 2 flea flickers fail, flea flicker should be outlawed from football above the high school level. Okay, it's over. It doesn't work anymore. Defenses are faster and smarter. All right. So let's not do those things. But he also has to know when to take the risk, right? Like maybe lull them to sleep. Maybe we can and control the ball, because Indiana can score quickly, right? Control the ball, lean on Fletcher, and then we come over the top with Tony, maybe even do a reverse pass, because Tony has shown why not throw a touchdown in the national championship, right? Like, be able to capitalize when we see the defense is just leaning on, okay, they're bringing in the safety. I just want us to lean on to what works. Sometimes it seems like we get a little complacent and we're like, let's try something new. Nope. Let's keep it cut and dry and let's get this dub and go home, guys.
Yeah, one of the traps that I thought Georgia fell into against Ole Miss is that they tried being Ole Miss. I thought that if they would have slowed the game down a little bit, Georgia could have come away with a victory against Ole Miss. I thought that Mike Bobo just threw the ball a little bit way too much and relied on Gunnar Stockton. And let's not forget that. Well, I said it on my show last week. I really hope this is the knee moment for Kirby Smart. That boneheaded call on 4th and 3, having no pass, having no backup for the blitz, and pretty much putting Gunnar Stockton in no man situation. Which, by the way, they didn't get the first down, obviously, which led to a go-ahead touchdown for Ole Miss. So I thought Dawson did a little bit of that. I would say in the third quarter, I thought we started throwing a little bit too much instead of just handing it off to Fletcher. I thought that would have been the best way to kind of seal the deal and seal the game as well. Dawson, the only flaw, and I know there's a lot of people that criticize Dawson a lot. Again, I defend Dawson because of the people that respect Dawson. And there's some big names in the history of football and college football that have a lot of nice things to say about Shannon Dawson, including the founder of the air raid offense, which is Hal Mummy. The only thing about Dawson that I will say is a little bit of an issue is that at times he doesn't read the situation very well. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, for example, against Syracuse last year, our defense could have stopped a nosebleed. We should have grinded it out a little bit more with them, in their home field. And then, of course, against Ole Miss in the third quarter, I thought we got a little bit too pass happy versus, just continuing to feed the beast, Mark Fletcher, and continue to run the football down their throat. So I hope that in this game, Coach Dawson kind of reads the situation and tries to do whatever he can to see what works. Agreeing with Anthony, see what works. And I think what will work is keeping the Heisman Trophy winner on the sidelines, off the field, and building a score, building a lead, not letting it back into the game.
Agreed.
So continuing on, I want to read a few stats for you guys as well. So So one of the things that I do have a concern about is the age of Indiana. One of the main reasons why I do think that Indiana has been so prolific this season is because, to quote my buddy Q from the I Hate Football podcast, big shout out, they have adults on their team. All right. The average age of the Indiana player is 23 years old. These are grown men. And in many cases,
average age?
The average is like 23. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's like grad plus more.
They got an old team. Yeah. They have like, for example, a guy that we love down here that always strategized that way in terms of roster building was Jim Larinaga. Larinaga always liked juniors and seniors. He never liked freshmen. He always liked older players because of maturity and experience, and that's what Signetti's going by. He's going maturity and experience. Surratt's like 22. Becker, I think, is 22, right, as well. Keelan Black looks like he's 35. If you look at his build, as well, that's a very old team, and that's why I think they've been able to kind of, maneuver the way, because a lot of these other players are still playing young guys as well. Like freaking Dante Moore is 20 years old, man. I mean, come on, he's a very young player. I never thought he should go to the NFL, even if he won the whole damn thing. I thought Moore should have another year. A 20-year-old in the NFL would not work. All right, it's just not gonna happen. Physically speaking, that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, man, the average age is about 22, 23 years old. So that's my concern about Indiana on the offensive side of the ball, as well as the defense side of the ball. But on the offensive side of the ball, stick with the offense. Like, is that something that you thought about, Lou, Ashley, and Tony, about the veteran leadership on this football team?
So you mentioned physically, but also mentally, because you take an 18-year-old compared to a 23-year-old. Yes, you're talking a different type of body physique, obviously coming from high school and having more time to condition at the college level, but it's going to also come down to a maturity and mental thing as well. So if we have a whole bunch of kids, 18, 19 years old, their mentality could generally be speaking different than somebody who's 23, 24, who's played college football for the past few years and, a different mindset as opposed to first time national game,
Yeah, I mean, I think it also has to do with their coach. I mean, Curt Cignetti is a tremendous coach here. What he's done at a school that, as you mentioned, is more known for basketball.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how Nebraska is 50-0 in college basketball and Indiana is 50-0 in football. It's like reversed.
Wow.
But, what Cignetti's been doing these last 2 years and how he's built his program out of nowhere. I mean, their biggest victory to date before this run was in the Rose Bowl back in 1967. They've never had this kind of success. So a lot of that is credit to him and the program that he's instilled and run. And that also makes up for turning boys into men in this case.
Yeah.
Tony?
No, I didn't think about the age, just because of, like, in this day and age of transfer portal. I can go 10 to 15 minutes just talking about how you should be aging out. So I'm not even going to get into that. My biggest issue, and I kind of want to ask you guys, is the line play, our defensive line getting pressure on Mendoza. Since they do a lot of the quick passing game, even though they're a smaller offensive line. That was my biggest concern. And I want to ask y'all, like, do y'all think like we will be able to get pressure on Mendoza with the way that
we're moving to the don't get ahead of me, Tony. We're
okay, my bad.
We're doing the offense first. No, you're good. You're good. But save that question. You could ask for the next segment. Yeah, we're focusing first on the offense, and then we'll transition over to Corey Heatherman and the defense. As well.
But I think now that I'm talking it out, that's why I always say that's why I like doing podcasts, because talking it out makes me think about it. But that shows why Mendoza knows his spots, knows how to get rid of the ball quickly, because he's thinking at that higher level, because they're just an older team. They're a veteran team. They know what to do,
Yeah, the one thing I will say, though, is that we do rotate our players better than Indiana. Indiana does play with its core guys on both sides of the ball, so that's something that could go into our advantage, because we could go into our bag a little bit as well. But like I said, it's not a team I'm sleeping on. I have the numbers right here.
No.
Like Indiana averaged 39 points a game on offense. Miami averages 34. Passing yards per game is 285. Miami 245. Rushing yards per game 175. Miami has the edge in 190. Turnover margin, Indiana does not turn the ball over at all. They're in a plus 21 category. Like, they do not make mistakes at all as well. The one thing I will say is that now we could transition a little bit more to the defensive side of the ball. Is I do like our trenches a little better than their trenches. Yes, Lou, you want to say something?
No, sorry. Just I want to stick with the offense here before you go over to that. No, I think that, look, the best running back on the field is Mark Fletcher Jr., But I think that, overall, they got a tremendous duo in Brown with Brown and Hemby. Those two are, they put up similar stats. So that's a two-headed monster right there. It reminds me of the old Auburn when they had Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams. You got a 1-2 punch right there that could really, set the tone. And you're going to worry about both those guys. While, Shamar Brown is really good for the Canes, he's a step below, in my opinion, Fletcher and what Fletcher's been able to do to date. So that worries me a little bit. And then if it comes to the kicking game, Carter Davis has missed some very easy kicks. And so if it comes to that, I'd be a little concerned there as well. Their kicker, Nico Radovich, didn't kick a field goal last game. He didn't need to. That game was a blowout. But, I'd be a little bit concerned if it comes down to the kicking department because I would favor them a little bit in that regard.
Yeah, going a little bit, like Becker's a big dude. He's like about 6'3". Okay. Then you have, of course, Elijah Surratt, who looks like a tight end in the boundary. He's a big dude as well. Why am I bringing that up? Because going into the defense as well, which I thought was a nonsense call on targeting on Xavier Lucas. Before it was like if you use your shoulder, you were fine. Now I feel like they've kind of flipped the rules around a little bit that you even lunge when the guy's going down. It's football. I'm really sorry to tell you, it's football. This guy and they should be like levels. Okay, toss him out of this game, but he should play the next game like they do in the NBA. A half of football can make a key difference. And with Charles Brantley hitting the transfer portal, Damari Brown's day by day, OJ Federico is going to play. You have Ethan O'Connor on the other side. This would have been a good game to insert Charles Brantley, the former Michigan State defensive back who hit the transfer portal. My concern is having maybe Becker, who's a huge monster, is tall, like 6'3", and physical. He's 22, 23 years old versus a true freshman like Jabari Antoine. Jabari Antoine is going to be a Cane great. Like the way he played against Ole Miss as a true freshman, knocking balls down, sticking to his receiver. That was like a courageous effort from that young man. He balled out. He's a dog, right? That's the kind of guys that Mario has. But my take is you have a dude that's 6'3" against a kid that's just fresh out of high school. And that's the way college football is. I get it, but that's my concern in this game. Again, with the veteran roster that Indiana has. Now, Miami is well balanced between young players and veterans. That's a fact, but Indiana is very veteran heavy. Ashley, Lou, and then Anthony, give me your take on that situation.
About the age.
Yeah, about the age and the possible physical mismatches that Indiana may pose against Miami.
Well, the age, I mean, it can go both ways. Like I said before, you can take the maturity part and you can have the leadership, or you can have a young kid out of high school and just destroy everybody because they're in better shape than everybody. But what I did want to just add before I forget, how you said Indiana does not make mistakes, right? And how you're going to win this game is you're going to have to force them to have mistakes. And how you're going to do that is you have to break their offensive line and you have to shake Mendoza right off the bat. Because this kid, his head is in the game. His head's with God. He's all about it. He knows he's the Heisman. So if you can break their offensive line, cause him to crumble early, defensive line, you got him. That's how you're going to win the game. And of course, you need to put points on the other end and everything, but that's how you're going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, look, the age thing, I think you throw that out. These kids are here for the right reasons in terms of they're talented. Signetti, as mentioned, brought in a tremendous talented group, a lot of transfers that came over to be part of his program. And Cristobal has built a factory, not just at Oregon, but Miami as well now. And so I think, the talent is a talent. I think a couple years ahead or below, I don't think it's going to have an impact. If anything, the experience, I think, favors Miami just because, they had a couple of extra games and, they've had a core that's used to doing this, if you will, a little bit longer than Indiana. So I would favor them in that regard.
Okay. Anthony?
Yeah, I agree. Like, once you get this deep in the season, the age talk is out the window, right? So put the ball out there and let's go. But I do agree, though, that is a big deal having that freshman out there because he is a dog. He will be a Hurricane great. My boy's frail out there, man. He's a small corner out there dealing with the big guy. So that's where complementary football has to come in place, right? That kind of goes back to, okay, we got to kind of get a rush on Mendoza so he can't just pick us apart. And I think we'll be okay, though. I think defensively we can scheme and we can figure out ways to get through the first half.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start with Anthony on this one. Like one of the things we talked about, it's been talked about nationally, is the Miami Hurricanes pass rush. That's the one advantage in terms of sacks and getting to the quarterback that Miami has over Indiana. Miami has about 47 sacks as a team. Indiana has 31. So the pass rush is absolutely ferocious. The pass rush was able to get to Marcel Reed 7 times, right, in the game. They got to Julian Saint 5 times. And Ohio State was supposed to have this NFL caliber offensive line in general. And we in general, the kid out of Texas A&M, I forgot his name, the one that made fun of not made fun of, but kind of like threw shade at Bain, revolving door in general as well. The Trinidad Chandler situation was 2 factors. One, he's super athletic. All right. He's much more twitchy than Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed's the faster runner, but Chambliss is the twitchier runner. Like he's a little bit harder to bring down, in my opinion. And number 2, I also think we played run lanes versus just pursuing the passer to not leave open lanes to allow Trinidad Chambliss to get 15, 20 yards. And we saw it. He had scramble yards, but not exactly a lot of yards running forward, a vertical across the field, right, as well. The Miami Hurricane pass rush, I think, is going to be the best pass rush and the most ferocious pass rush Indiana is going to face all season. Is going to face this season in general. Sure. How do you think Indiana's line, which is pretty good, all right, average weight is I think average height is 6'3", 311, is pretty good, is going to fare against our defensive pass rush with Bain, Mesidor, and let's not forget the interior tackles like Moten, Armando Blunt, and also Justin Scott. Start first with Anthony.
I don't think they'll do well, but I think that's why Indiana will try and like really take advantage of the quick pass game. I think they know they can't go head to head with us in the trenches. Like I think we have them in size by like 20 pounds. Just average size, our defensive line versus their offensive line. And Cignetti's he knows this. If we know that, he knows that, right? So I think he knows we can't get in a dogfight with those guys. So I think our defensive line is going to have to focus more on batted balls than actual sacks, dealing with, just because the ball's going to come out quickly. So we need Bain. I know they talk about short arms, but we got to get the hands up. We got to knock balls down and like really just keep them off schedule that way. But just to piggyback, Will, you're right, though. Our defensive line is amazing. If any question that Bain was going to be a top 5 pick, thank you, Ohio State. You got my boy. You got him paid, baby. You got him paid. But yeah, so I think that's the way that we can counteract their counter, right? Counter their counter. Like, okay, we see the quick pass game. We don't have to bat a lot of balls down. I don't think we'll get as many sacks.
Okay. To answer your question, Chris, I think OJ's playing, but Damari still listed as day by day. Damari is someone you really need. He's a tall, physical corner. So I do think that that's somebody that we could use in this game just as a body against the receiving core. Lou, what you think, sir?
Yeah, well, so I think you want to talk about the reason why maybe Mesidor and Bain didn't have this great game against Ole Miss. You want to mention what we talked about earlier?
About what?
About what they might have been dealing with, the elements.
Okay, yeah. So that is a very good point. I'm no doctor, right? But we know for sure that these guys were not healthy. It is flu season everywhere. Everyone flu, COVID, this and that. And we found out after the game because Coach Mario Cristobal was not going to release this before the game to leak it out. But there were a lot of guys on that defensive line fighting the flu. And let me tell you, I've had COVID 4 times. I had the flu twice. I'd rather have COVID 9 times than have the flu ever again in my life because flu is so tough. So if our guys were dealing with the flu and playing out there and still being able to play how they were, I mean, that goes to show the resiliency and, just being able to overcome that. So it's been, a week? And the flu probably took its course now. Yeah. So let's say they played at 80%. They're going to be at 100% this week. And that's going to be huge because Indiana, they've played teams, but they haven't played teams like us, right? And our size and our hunger and our violence, they're going to try everything they can to stop our defensive line from trying to attack Mendoza. But Mendoza, I'm telling you, he's gonna feel it. He's gonna be a little banged up in the 305 because we're definitely gonna be able to break their offensive line and we're gonna be able to we're gonna get him. We're gonna get him.
Yeah. No, and to add to that, in terms of look, Chambliss obviously a true talent. Be interesting to see what happens with his career now, right? Because he got denied that 6th year. Yeah. So see what's going to end up happening with him. But he's a superb talent, so there's no mistaking that. But for what Ashley just said, in terms of once it came out that these guys were battling the flu, it made sense because, look, the defense domination that we saw the 3 previous games, starting in Pittsburgh, which was a total destruction of the Panthers, and then it went into Texas A&M and it went into Ohio State where they were making big plays and dominating that line of scrimmage. I think it made sense why you didn't see that against Ole Miss. And now with just a week off, it's been closer to 11 days because they played last Thursday. This game's going to kick off on Monday. Yeah. They get 3 or 4 extra days there to get totally healthy. And I think you're going to see a difference. I think you're going to see the defense respond and get back to the way they were playing in the previous weeks.
They were able to make it work and obviously win against Ole Miss, but by this time they're going to be – they've taken every vitamin, every shot, everything to really knock that flu out of their system and to, be their full potential into this national championship game.
Tony, talking game. What's up? What do you think?
You know what? Shout out to y'all with the exclusive though on the post game injury report because that I'm not gonna lie, watching the game was like, what is with our ends? Like
they had the
yeah, and it makes sense. I'm like, I know Ole Miss tackles aren't that good, right? I'm like, what is going on? But that makes all the sense in the world. And having a 5-year-old who is literally just getting over the flu, all of this makes sense now because. My poor Adonis didn't want to do nothing but lay around. So I couldn't imagine going to play a semifinal football game, So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. But I think we physically can dominate. I just am counting or thinking that Indiana also knows that. That's why I feel like we are going to have to depend on hands up and stuff like that. I really see a lot of short games, chop blocks, so like we're going to have to counter that and control the line of scrimmage with defense, a lot of run stopping to keep them behind schedule. Hands up, we'll be good in the trenches.
Okay, so quick question, Anthony. Do you think we blitz a little bit more with Keontae Scott and Jacoby Thomas?
Oh, that's going to be tough. We should, though. I think we should try. I think we should try and rattle them early because we can't just let Mendoza sit back there and chill and pick us apart. We got to give them different looks. We got to disguise stuff. We got to make them uncomfortable because we're talking about a guy who threw much more touchdowns than incomplete passes, right? We can't allow him to just be comfortable and just pick his spots. We all highlighted how he's older, mature, and he goes through his progressions. If he has time to chill and do that, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah, the first play against Ole Miss was a blitz up the middle by Mohamed Toure. So I wouldn't be surprised if on 3rd down they send Keontae or they send Jacoby in there. That wouldn't surprise me as well. The one thing about Fernando Mendoza is what they say. The 2 or 3 games I saw of Indiana, I didn't see it, to be honest with you. I thought he was pretty accurate. Is that if you get him out of the pocket, he gets a little more inaccurate. He's not as poised and. So I'm hoping that that's one thing we could do, but you have to spy him because he is pretty athletic. He's able to get first downs with his legs. He did it last year at Cal against us quite a few times, over there when we played him over there at Berkeley. Yeah. And he did it quite a few times against Oregon as well, which is supposed to be a pretty good defense under Dan Lanning. So I think that even though he's not as athletic or as twitchy as Trinidad Chambliss or as quick and fast as Marcel Reed, I do think he's able to extend plays with his legs. He's also able to run for first downs and make it more than just a typical 2-3 yard gain. He's able to get some more yak yards as well. Some yards after carry as well. So I think that's something that we have to worry about with Fernando during this game. I want to go over the offensive line a little bit. I forgot to mention them. I think we outweigh their D-line by like 50 pounds. All right, as well. Like our O-line is about an average weight of 330 pounds. Okay, wow. So and I think their defensive line average is about 260 or 240, something along those lines. How important is line play? A guy like Markel Bell, a guy like Maui Noah. How important are those 2 guys going to be for number 1, keeping Carson Beck clean in this game, and number 2, making sure that Mark Fletcher gets another 150 plus game?
Yeah, you're gonna.
Oh, sorry, Ashley, go ahead. No, you're first. Ashley, go ahead, Ashley.
I'll go first. No, you're going to have to protect Carson Beck with everything you have, right? You got to let him play the best game possible, the cleanest game possible, because the guy can play, right? if you have too much pressure on him, like any other quarterback, he's gonna make mistakes. He's gonna fall to the pressure. So if you want guys like Malachi Toney and Mark Fletcher to get the ball, that offensive line has to hold as much as possible. They can hold because of the size. We know that. But is the Hoosiers going to be fast enough to break through that? So you just really, really got to hold for Carson to make those plays.
Not literally hold. No.
And let Carson do his thing. He has targets out there. Carson needs to run, he can run. But just give him the best opportunity to find those targets by giving him the most time possible to release the ball, and we'll be fine. I mean, it's straight X and O football.
Yeah, and Tony mentioned earlier in terms of the Hurricanes got to get physical at the line on the other side of the ball and try to bat down balls, rattle Fernando Mendoza. And the Hurricanes got to prevent that on the other side as well. They got to make sure that Carson gets his throws off, that penetration isn't getting to him where he's having to make an errant throw that could result in a turnover. So you want to definitely not just protect them and allow Mark Fletcher and Brown to get some nice holes and creases to work through, but you want to definitely keep Carson upright and being able to have a clear path to throw the football.
Yeah.
Tony,
where my belt? I got to go Michael Irvin for this. We got to wear him out. No, look, when you have that kind of size on the offensive line opposed to the defensive line, we got to lean on them. This is where Dawson, if we can run, if it shows that we're running the ball effectively, right? We're getting consistently 4, 5, 6 yards a pop. We don't got to get cute. I know it gets boring. We get tired of seeing the double team blocks and we just moving 4 or 5 yards at a time, but that's going to keep Mendoza on the sideline. That's going to keep the chains moving. And in the third, fourth quarter, we can take advantage of Malachi Toney and the boys because they're wore out and the play action will loom large. So I think the line is probably the most important part of this. And Mario Cristobal knows this. He's an old lineman. We're going to lean into that for sure. And let's talk dollars and cents. If I'm looked at to be a top 10 pick at tackle, you know what I'm talking about, my Noah. This is the game to show out. You only got one more game tape to show unless you're going to the Senior Bowl, right? So this is the game to prove your worth and make a couple more dollars come draft day. So I think all those things play a factor, right? So I think we're going to really lean into that. You're going to see a lot of double team blocks up the middle. And once Fletcher hits the second level, anything can happen, guys.
I totally agree with you. I 100, all three of you 100%. I completely agree with all 100%. We've had some stars in each game, right, on offense. Okay, Mark Fletcher, I would say, was the star of the A&M game. And although Mark Fletcher, you can make a case for star also at Ohio State, the one that really surprised people as a factor was C.J. Daniels. He got a key first down late into the game. That put the game away, in my opinion, for the Canes. And against Ole Miss, it was Keelan Marion. Who's that guy? Not named Mark Fletcher. That's gonna make a statement for Miami this upcoming Monday in the national championship on offense, and then we'll go and say who it will be on defense. Starting first with Tony, who's gonna be the guy on offense that you think is gonna make an impact that no one saw coming?
See, I wasn't prepared for that one.
Your opinion, man. Just
I'm gonna go Lofton at tight end.
Okay,
I'm gonna go Lofton at tight end. I think this big physical tight end. I think playing off the play action, that'll be great. Like once we get into that moment. Plus, we know what Malachi Toney's gonna do, man. We know what Baby Jesus is gonna do out there. Carson Beck has played in a lot of big games. We know what we're gonna do with him. And like you said, we know what Fletcher's gonna do. I feel like this is a good game for tight ends, man. Let's get the big guys going. So I'm gonna go with that. And defensively, I'm gonna go Torre, right? Isn't that how you pronounce the last name? Linebacker,
yeah,
Torre? Yeah, I'm gonna go Torre. I think he's gonna play. You talk about violence. I think he's gonna bring a lot of violence come Monday. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Those two.
Okay. Nice. Ashley, who's your pick?
All right. So the name I want to drop, but then I want to switch it a little bit. But Keelan Marion.
Okay.
First.
Okay.
And then, you mentioned Fletcher. One person we didn't mention, and it's kind of off the beaten path, is his mother. Can we just give a shout out to his mother? This woman drives to every game. Okay. And, I like road trips. I appreciate a good road trip. But this woman drove from Miami to Cal Berkeley. Okay, right? Yeah, because she is scared to go on planes, and trust me, I get it too. I don't do well with planes, but I got to get on it sometimes. I mean, we travel, but she will refuse to get on an airplane. So last year when we played Cal Berkeley out in California in Berkeley, she drove from Miami all the way to Berkeley, and then she didn't take a plane back. No. She drove her butt all the way back. So Keelan, Marianne's great to say. I just need to give a quick shout out to Mama Fletcher because she's the real OG here holding it down.
Unsung hero,
yeah.
And she doesn't have to travel this week. She's here. So.
I know.
Yeah, no, that's great for her. I have a funny story about her. If I could share with you guys, it's really interesting. When Mark before he took the field as a Cane, you know, when he had signed already, and so it was during Canes Fest that one year that they had it at the Rock. I was sitting in front of her and her father, and I guess I don't know if it's his girlfriend or sister, stuff like that as well. And I saw the tag, and she goes to me, "I know you from somewhere, you know, I know you from somewhere." And I said, "Oh, really, ma'am?" And she said, "Yeah. Are you a teacher at Heritage?"
Oh wow.
No way.
Yeah, and I said, "No, ma'am, I'm not a teacher. You know, I am a teacher. I'm sorry, I'm not a teacher at Heritage. I'm a teacher over at Westland Hialeah." "Really? Westland Hialeah?" I said, "Yeah, Westland Hialeah. But I know you from somewhere. And Jeno, your face just looks so familiar." And I said, and I said to her, "Do you watch videos on your son, of your son being covered on YouTube?" And she said, "Yeah, I do. I'm one of the guys that covers your son." "That's where I know you from."
Oh.
I said, yeah, I've covered your son at nauseum. I even told her, I go, your son runs. People talk about your son's size and physicality, but your son could run away from people. And she says, "What does that mean?" And I told her, he's got sneaky speed, man. He's not as easy to catch as people speculate. He's, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." So I met her. She was more social, and then of course I met his father before he passed. You know, as well, and I met other members of the family, so it was pretty neat. And that's funny because that game as well was really interesting because she sat in front of me. I sat in front of her. Behind her was Benny from the You Heard podcast, you know, as well. And this is before they really became, you know, like they've really blown up now. You know, like they're very recognizable. And Benny sat behind her. So it's funny though. And I told Benny we didn't know each other. We sat like right by each other, you know, over at the Rock that day. He said, "Yeah, we both laughed together." So I thought I'd share that with you guys. You brought up that story about his mom, you know, in general. I thought I'd bring it up as well.
Yeah, a lot of these players, their home stories, their family life and stuff. It's beautiful, you know, and a lot of their roots and where they come from and their why is because of it. So often that gets hidden behind their talent, which understandably, but it gives them a face on and off the field. So I like to add that kind of
it's amazing. We forget that these kids are human and they're still kids. You know, like. You know, I know they're getting NIL and stuff like that right now, so it's kind of like now it's a little like the criticism can be a little bit more justified because now they're getting paid. You know, you can make the case, but at the end of the day, they're still kids, right? Malachi Tony just turned 18. People forget that, you know, and he's very skilled. Ashley, I know you mentioned Mark's mom, but do you have an X factor player both on offense and defense?
So, I mean, offense. I want to see Malachi Tony, right? Like I'm so like I'm feeding him and. Like that's a big thing, but then also Carson Beck, right? You what is this game going to be without him? I keep mentioning him, but it's so crucial. Obviously, this is his. It's a transfer student, so this is coming from Georgia, new organization, new team. So that's kind of where I'm at offensively. Defensive wise, I don't know. Who do you have? You have a big one sticking out to you?
Well, I mean, it's you know, I'd go with I'd go with Keontae Scott. You know, he did it against Ohio State. Yeah. You know, and I'd love to see him do it again. I'd love to see him make that big play that either puts the game away or puts it a little bit closer out of reach towards the end. And as far as offense, you know, I'm going to go back to Shamar Brown. You know, with Fletcher being the focus, I'd love to see us do something as what Indiana's doing, have a two-headed monster attack. And if Fletcher is the focus and, you know, he can't do it for 25, 30 carries, you want Brown to come in there and maybe they don't expect it. And he's the one that gets the big go-ahead touchdown or the big run that gives them the position to put the game away.
Yeah, I like all your takes, guys. And Earl Spencer, I agree with you, you know, in general. But I mean, you know, I do agree with you. I'm tired about it, but I think it's a good thing because you build them up like Ivan Drago, you know, over in Rocky IV. And keep in mind, what did Rocky do? much smaller guy, powerful puncher. He cut him, so he proved that he wasn't a machine. He's a man. One of my favorite lines in movie history. Just to let you know, "Not a machine. He's a man." You know, I love Duke over in Rocky, over the Rocky series and so on. My take is gonna be, I think it's gonna be a CJ Daniels game. I think CJ's, whenever we've needed him, he's come through. He came through against Florida State. He came through against Ohio State as well. I think they're gonna bracket Malachi Toney and force one of the receivers to beat him. And I like CJ Daniels. CJ Daniels is not only a guy that can catch the football in various ways in terms of being covered as well, or just even botting up a receiver. I think he could do that. But I do think he's gonna be the X factor, because we know Fletcher is gonna try to get his. We know Marty Brown will be the closer in terms of continuous pounding as well. Tony's gonna get bracketed, and I think CJ will get a lot of one-on-ones against the defensive backs of Indiana. And also on my defensive side of the ball, I'm with Lou. I think it's another Keontae Scott game. Keontae Scott was very pivotal in his return against A&M. He forced a fumble. He had a sack fumble in the game. He was all over the place. And he had a beautiful pick six against Julian Saint and Ohio State that really flipped momentum of that game. In my opinion, it sucked the life out of Ohio State and his fan base at the Cotton Bowl. So I do think that it's going to be Keontae Scott and CJ Daniels in this game. And I'm good if we don't get any DNs in this portal cycle, because I think we're loaded with young talent. Marquise Lightfoot, Herbert Stroggins, Cole McConaughey, Hayden Lowe's probably going to start next year as well. Let's not forget Booker Pickett Jr. I think we are loaded at the DM position. Even though we're young, I think they're extremely talented, and they're only going to get better with Coach Jason Taylor and, of course, under Heatherman's scheme. But I get you, man. I get you. You know, it's always nice to have veteran depth in our line. Before we close tonight, I want to get a couple of points. There's a couple of things that have irked me throughout this playoffs, all right, and this playoff season, and that's two things. One is Lane Kiffin. All right, he's really irked me. Yeah, he's really irked me. All right, and number two is an open portal. All right, as well in the middle of the playoffs. So my personal opinion, and I want to get your take, is that although Lane Kiffin is a scumbag in general, and and he kept commenting on Ole Miss, I'm like, bro, you left them, bro. Go with your new girlfriend, all right, and leave your old one alone. That's pretty much the way I saw it. He did nothing illegal. Okay, he did nothing illegal. He did within the rules. LSU, basically spoke to him. He decided to go, with LSU and left, Ole Miss, my opinion, high and dry, and tried ransacking the offensive staff in the process during that process. And the thing with the portal that I don't like is that it's in the playoff season, and you have the portal open, and of course we lost Dante Simpson. Okay, who, my opinion, I'm surprised he left. He actually got some playing time this year in significant snap counts. And we lost Charles Brantley, which I thought could have been very pivotal in this game with Lucas being out. And we don't know the injury situation of both Damari Brown and OJ Federic as well. We lost Nikar as well. We lost Ray Joseph. I know they didn't play much, but still, it's good to have depth, in general. My take is, number one, NFL rules. You can't talk to a coach that's in the playoffs. Okay, number one. And number two, we should have one portal after spring, and that's it. What do you guys think? Starting first with Anthony, then I'll go with Lou and Ashley.
Yeah. I almost cussed. Lord Jesus. It's annoying. It is. No, it is. Like, Oregon had to put cornerbacks at running back, man. Like, what are we doing here? And I echo everything about Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin sucks. He's annoying. Yeah, like you said, go be with your new girlfriend. You're clearly trying to. He's a attention HO. Like for real. Like you tweeting out after every victory. Anytime you tweet, you put the Trinidadian flag to kind of make it seem like Trinidad Chambliss is coming to LSU. It was a lot of just corny stuff going on. But I agree with you. I think what Dan Lannon proposed is probably the best way to fix it with the playoffs and the transfer portal. I don't know if you guys heard it, but basically the playoffs, go NFL style with the playoffs. It's no gap, no 2 weeks or whatever. After championship week, Saturday, you go the very next Saturday to round one, and you just play all the way out into New Year's, and you actually have the Natty on New Year's. And then after January 1, you can have the transfer portal. And I think that's probably like the best way to fix this situation. And he also called out the NFL and was like, stop playing games on Saturday so we can have so college can have their Saturdays.
I agree.
That goes hand in hand too. So it is a mess. I will say this though, if we get that tackle from Colorado to Seton, I feel a little better about the transfer.
Then it'll be okay. Then we'll be okay.
Hey, I'll be like, all right, cool. I will say, seeing like all the quarterbacks get snatched up, even though we do have the quarterback coming from nearby where I'm at, from Jones coming down there, I do want a little more veteran leadership at quarterback. That seems to be the name of the game now. But yeah, it's a mess. I don't know who can fix it, how they can fix it. I think we need to stop playing like it's amateur and just make this the business that it is, and like probably get a CBA and have a commissioner over this situation to kind of regulate what's going on. Because as much as Lane Kiffin is a sucker and he's annoying, and ESPN is going to post every time he tweets and is like, oh my God, he, like you said, he didn't break a rule. Right. Like morally, he's annoying and like you don't like to see it, but he didn't break a rule at all. So somebody has to come in and put better rules in place.
Yeah, and to just piggyback on what you just said there, and I'll take my turn too, roasting Lane Kiffin, and I'm pretty sure Ashley will make it unanimous here. But yeah, to your point, they got to fix the rule. Fix the rule. I'll tell you, it benefited UM by playing Ole Miss, a team that their coaching staff was in shambles, and that was criminal to have a team in a semifinal. And they're coaching, day to day, they're finding out who's going to stay on staff. Bad. Horrible. Yeah. And then I'm going to go back to the transfer portal itself. I think there needs to be restrictions, at least make it a 2-year thing, and cap it at 3 schools. That's even too much in my opinion. But there's some kids that have played at 4 or 5 programs, some that have gone back to a school they left previously. They got to fix that. I mean, this is free agency at this point. I understand the money's open and out in the open right now, but they got to have restrictions. Otherwise, it's not a good look, man. And especially with college, you're singing the fight song and the alma mater gets together and sings on the field. And this guy's going to do it for 3 different schools down the road. It takes away a lot from what it's really all about. And that's, college sports, the innocence of it. And they got to fix it.
You made a good point about that. Lane Kiffin, obviously, that it is what it is. I'm tired of hearing his name. I just want him to poof, go away. You're right. He never did anything bad, right? Like, okay, I'm a Rick Pitino girl, coaches my basketball team, St. John's girl. He did some bad thing, right? And I still love the guy. But Lane, whatever, was right. So the whole NIL thing, and the transfer portal, it's a mess. Was it really broken to begin with? I mean, it wasn't perfect. There could have been little changes made, but now we're doing a whole 180 with it. I do believe, obviously, these college players should get paid. Now they're getting paid millions and millions of dollars, which, here nor there. But then the transfer. And you said it really well, how, my big thing, my loyalty is St. John's. And I'll die for that team, right? And it's like, if I transfer 3 more times, if I go to Notre Dame and then I go to Auburn, it's like, how much of your loyalty? So, but at the end of the day, it's not about loyalty. Loyalty is out the window with everything. So these guys are not playing for their loyalty of being a Johnny or their loyalty of being a Kane or fighting Irish. There's
got to be rules and regulations.
There is, but the loyalty part of it, there's not. The alumni, like a Will, like me, that's where the loyalty is. Our loyalty is because of that. But these players don't have a loyalty to a certain program. They're going to bounce to see what better fits them for the next chapter. Well, is that the right thing to do? Maybe not necessarily. They shouldn't have to transfer 3, 4, whatever times. I say cap it at 2. If it had a cap, right? There's no cap. I mean, I transferred 3 times, before I got to St. John's. But at the end of the day, there should be some type of cap, but there's just no loyalty.
Oh, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
What you guys are saying about like going to these different schools and like the lack of loyalty, just switching sports. John Calipari basically said the same thing. He was like, these guys are going to 3 or 4 schools. They're not building any relationships. They're probably not getting any education at these schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does this scholarship situation work? So they're just literally just athletes just floating around. And at the end of the day, right, how many of these people are actually going to play professionally in sports? The job in college is to groom these people to be adults in life. I get that we like the sport of football, basketball, baseball, etc. But if they're not able to stay in school, because most of these people aren't going to play professional sports, and get the education that the school is providing them with the scholarship, what are we doing?
Yeah, you're right.
Tony, you're spot on. Real quick with St. John's, I bring them up again. I know it's not a St. John's talk, but obviously we won the Big East last year. We go into this year being a projected top 5 team in the nation. Rick Pitino has all these transfer comes in. We have one returning guy, Zuby at Deferred Center. Everyone else is these top transfer prospects, this and that. We're having such a mediocre year. So just because you have these great players, you put them on a team, you know, it's not about that. And you know, if you just stick to where you're at and find a good place instead of transferring, it's not working out in the Queens right now. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, like I listen. I agree with the players getting paid. I thought the NCAA has made, and the universities will have made millions and billions of dollars off the back of these kids. And the rules in general were so stupid sometimes that it led to what we have today. Like for example, someone gave a player $50. Oh, your school gets sanctioned, you know, for that, or a player gets suspended. It was ridiculous. So I'm glad that the players, you know, took some power back and they're getting paid for it. I think it's very well deserved. The only thing I will say is that when I interviewed Mike Rump about a couple years ago, he told me he has the Cane he has a Hurricane logo tattooed on his arm. And I don't think we're gonna get that anymore because of the portal. Guys like Ray Lewis, guys like Mike Rump, guys like Michael Irvin, that they literally, you know, blood, sweat, and tears for the university they played in because it was such a pain in the butt to transfer all that time ago. You know, you really get usurped by the community. You know, the fan base embraces you, the city embraces you, the university embraces you. You made millions of dollars in the NFL because of the university that you played at. I think that's gone. You know, very rarely when you get a Ruben Bain, you know, a Francisco Mauinoa. To his credit, I gotta give him his props. I think he should hit the portal personally. But Jeremiah Smith is sticking out one more year at Ohio State, and he's gonna go in the NFL the following year. I personally thought you want it, you know, try winning it at your home, your home city next year. But you know, it is what it is. I kind of respect the fact he's staying there, going into his third season. So the bottom line is, I think that like you mentioned, that loyalty, that love of the university is in jeopardy because when the transfer portal hit, and I'll let you guys chime in on this if you want to. When it first hit, and I know Greg Moss personally, he's a DB coach or a GA, I forgot, over at Florida State. He told me, because I wanted to confirm, he said you transfer once, you sit out a year. If you do it again, all right, and then you can play for that school. That rule's gone. Now you transfer whenever you want. But at least there's some consequence for transferring. You transfer once, they give you a mulligan. But you transfer again, you sit out that 1 year, and then you play for your school the following year. What do you guys, anything else you guys want to add?
Do you lose eligibility when you sit out that 1 year?
I don't think so. During that time period. No, you didn't lose your eligibility. You just couldn't play that year. You had to sit out that year.
Yeah, and I think
good.
I'm sorry, and I think you could have like went to JUCO or something if you wanted to play that next year, and then you can go back up to D1. I think that's how it used to be.
Okay.
But I think I agree with you about like the tattoos and stuff, but I really feel like the University of Miami has something different with the talent and hotbed of talent in South Florida and the love of the alumni and the way that, like I said, when I watching like Vince Wilfork talking about it and seeing like just recently this last week how Malachi Tony was at a Mark Richt camp. Ruben Bain was at a Mark Richt camp. You know what I'm saying? So like these guys are, why would I want to go somewhere else? You know, they're Miami born and bred. So like it's more than just I went to this school. Like this is my hometown team. Like I grew up wanting to play for them. No offense, they're not looking up saying I want to play for the Dolphins. They're trying to play.
Fernando Mendoza. There's a picture of him floating of him at a UM camp, all canes out and stuff. But we know that he wanted to play at Miami. Like he wanted to walk on. So you know.
Yeah. So I think Miami has that unique thing about them. You know, location of Miami changes a lot of stuff because, hey, let's be honest. A November game in Miami and a November game in Michigan is two totally different things. You know what I'm saying? Lifestyle is different. These kids think about that. And like I say, they don't have to go too far for some of this talent, you know, so they already want to be here. So I think that is the unique thing about Miami opposed to other schools and keeping kids.
Yeah. One of my former students, Jamari Howard, he's at Florida State right now. He first committed to Michigan State. And I was like, he's not keeping that commitment. It's Miami through and through. That -10, whatever they have up there, it's no. So yeah, he's still a null. He's still a null. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for coming on. I had a blast. You know, I love discussing Canes football in general. But before we go, all right, let's find out where people can find you, subscribe to you, or follow you. All right, starting first with Tony.
All right, so as you can see right there, all my social media, Talking Game 1. If you want to find my YouTube is Tony Talking Game. Make sure y'all subscribe. Weekly episodes every Wednesday. If I have a special guest throughout the week, I'll, it might be another episode here or there. Also, I do Mondays and Wednesdays. I'm on the South Florida Tribune doing the Sports Exchange and 108 Stitches for baseball. So, yeah, man, just keeping busy. But, yep, this is where you can find me, Talking Game 1.
Okay. Lou and Ashley?
Yeah, I just followed you on X. 305 Sports, baby. You can follow me on all socials. Lou and I have a show, the SoFlo Sports Show, so we cover all things South Florida sports. Obviously, this Canes run this has been amazing. We're going to be switching gears once this is all done. Baseball is my favorite sport, so definitely looking forward to covering. It's my whole entire identity. We're definitely going to talk, man. I'm telling you, Smitty Alcantara got traded last year. I think I still would have been crying. So definitely look forward to talking baseball with you. And obviously, cover Panthers, Heat, and then Dolphins is our identity as well. We own 305 Sports Travel, so we do Dolphin away games. We went to Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Charlotte, and Buffalo last year, and we're looking forward to next year.
Yeah. You pretty much covered it all.
That's my husband,
Lou. Look, the main story here, make no mistake about it, is the Hurricanes right now and the opportunity ahead of them. So, just want to, seal this deal here on Monday night and get number 6 is what we're hoping for here.
Let's go.
Oh, definitely. Before we go, since you mentioned the Dolphins, I gotta ask, Tony, who do you think is gonna be the next head coach of the Fins, or who would you like it to be?
Who I wanted to be.
Or who do you think it's going to be? Either or.
I feel like y'all going to do something crazy like bring Stefanski to Miami.
Okay. That's not crazy. I get that. It's one of the front runners at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm going to bring Stefanski down there. And I've actually just talked about Stefanski. I think owners feel like they will treat him better than Cleveland did. Like, I feel like they realize that the village around him will make him look better than what was going on in Cleveland. They gave my boy 7 quarterbacks with only 45 roster spots. You can't do that. Like, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lou and Ashley, either or.
Okay. I knew from the beginning Harbaugh was going to New York. And Lou was like, no, he's going to come here. I felt it in my guts.
I didn't say he was coming here.
But no, you wanted it. I mean, we all wanted it.
I didn't say he was going to come here. I wanted it.
But I just felt it, right? I just felt he was going to go to New York. Whatever. Fine. You have Jackson Dart. Good luck. You have Skiba Boo 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 up there, and I'm sure he'll come back healthy, and it'll be whatever. See what happens there. So that was my number 1. Not a popular one. A lot of people aren't going for it. Matt LaFleur. I would love Matt LaFleur from Green Bay down here. I really, really would. My second choice would have been Tomlin. Tomlin's going to go into TV. I don't think Tomlin's going to explore becoming a head coach anymore. Brian Flores is floating around. He's going to go. My guess, he's going to go to the Ravens. He's going to go to the Ravens.
I want you guys. That's who I want the Dolphins to get. But he can't come back.
Yeah, he can't come back.
That's who I want. He can't come back.
Yeah, so that's it would be a good fit for him in Baltimore. And if you were to take, this is actually very interesting. I was thinking about this on my way home from work. Take Coach McDaniel, as an offensive coordinator in Baltimore with Brian Flores leading him. That could be good for Baltimore. But this is not about Baltimore. I just, I'm saying. But down here in Miami, I would love Matt LaFleur. I would have liked Tomlin. Stefanski is possible. Those are probably my. And then they bounce around Chris Shula. That's an interesting one as well. The name speaks legends himself. But
yeah. I honestly, I'm not thrilled with any of the guys that are, right now being interviewed, to be honest. I wanted Harbaugh. I didn't think it was anywhere near a slam dunk. I thought it'd be 50-50. I was kind of surprised they didn't even take an interview. I thought there was a little bit of a relationship there, not so much with him, but with his brother and Stephen Ross. Yeah. So I'm kind of perplexed as to why, he didn't at least meet with the Dolphins or take their phone call. So that was surprising. But now that he's out, my next want would have been Mike Tomlin, but it doesn't look like he's gonna hang it up and take a year off and do some television. Mm-hmm. So then I'm gonna throw 2 guys out here that I think they're not being interviewed, but I think Mike McCarthy, who's a former coach and obviously has ties to the new GM, John Eric Sullivan. Okay. He's a guy that's won a Super Bowl, kind of like Harbaugh and Tomlin. So that's a guy I would go to. And then the other guy, people, may not like this guy, but Cliff Kingsbury. And the reason why I say him is because he's worked with so many and developed so many quarterbacks. And the Dolphins have not been able to find a quarterback in 25 years since Marino hung him up. So we're going to need to draft a quarterback. You got a project right now in Quinn Ewers. You're going to have to draft another one, perhaps bring another one in free agency. We need a guy that knows how to work with quarterbacks. And the most important of all is has head coaching experience.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I don't want an offensive coordinator.
The last 4 Dolphin coaches have been coordinators. You need a guy who's not learning on a job, a guy that's coming in here that already is experienced in the role and can handle all aspects of the football team.
I agree.
I'll be honest with you guys. I don't mind Stefanski. I think it'd be a good fit in general, but I'm on the Chris Shula bandwagon as far as bringing him on. Only reason why. Oh, thank you guys, appreciate it. Those are my former students on here. Hold on, let me put them off there. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you guys, appreciate you so much. My AP kids, by the way, as well. Yeah. So anyways, as I was saying, I'm on the Chris Shula bandwagon. The name, the legacy. He's been a great defensive coordinator. Grew up around coaches, his entire life. So, and he's been a coordinator for a good while. So I think he'd be ready to take that next jump. I just need a guy that's tough, man. I think that Miami needs a culture change in that locker room. They need somebody that is physical, that, could be, hey, you did a good job, but be like, you're a moron at the same time, after. So I think that's somebody that could pull it off. That's just me. But like I said, I like Stefanski. Mike McCarthy may be a little past his prime a little bit. Only reason why I say that because of his tenure in Dallas. Didn't go very well. That could be also personnel. That may have been an issue. That's my only thing. The Dolphins right now are a disaster. So it may not help him, as far as he goes as a head coach. But I think I got like Chris Shula that you may have to be a little bit patient with, but you won't get the trash talking aviator glasses, you're late, it's okay, type of atmosphere. I think that's where the Dolphins should go. But again, I'm cool with Stefanski. I think I agree with Tony. He was given a raw deal. The Browns ownership is a disaster, as well. They drafted like a ton of quarterbacks, and he has had some success, so that and then he could bring that over to Miami, clean slate, brand new quarterback as well. But if you can't get Stefanski, I'm on the bandwagon for Chris Shula.
Yeah, and clean slate is a good way to term it. A guy like Anthony Weaver, who I personally like. I think he's been good, but he's gotten 2 job interviews so far in this cycle, and he was a runner-up to the New Orleans Saints jobs last year. Mm-hmm. But to your point, Will, you got to get a clean slate. And so as much as I love Weaver, if he stays on, you're bringing the same energy that was there the last couple of years, and we need a complete breakdown and start over.
I think if you now that McDaniel's gone, I think Weaver can really. You don't know how much control McDaniel had over the whole entire show, so maybe he was, pushing.
But he's still part of it. So
I like Weaver. I don't want him down.
Yeah, I fully agree with all of you. All right, guys, thank you so much once again. Please go follow Tony at Talking Game 1 and all his social media outlets and like his channel. It brings a little bit of everything and great baseball knowledge as well. And of course, 305 Sports Tip and Lou from Dade from the SoFlo Sports Podcast. Please give him a like, share, and subscribe as well. And guys, if you like this episode, all right, it is this episode, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now. Once again, for Lou, Ashley, and Tony, I am Will. God bless you guys. Go Canes, all about the U. Take down Indiana. Go Canes. Bye, everybody.